The Ascension Summit 2017. Your all-day access to meet international speakers, authors, and coaches. 20 experts, three continents. 2 days. 2 days with one goal: elevate your life. Welcome to the Ascension Summit with your host, E.R. Spalding.
Welcome to Ascension Summit 2017. I am your host and the founder, E.R. Spalding, and it is my divine pleasure to be here with you as an evolving leader. As an integration strategist, I work with hundreds of individuals looking to integrate every aspect of who they are inside of their personal life so that they can grow and continue to thrive as an entrepreneur, business owner, or leader inside of their organization. And it has been my pleasure to bring this power-packed group of individuals together that are speaking to you with all of the 8 major life areas: your mind, your body, your spirit, your romantic relationships, family and friends, your finances, and the work that you do and the impact you make in the world, in addition to having a little fun and rejuvenation. That is what I consider to be the kind of 8 major life areas in your life that we constantly have to make sure that we are paying attention to so nothing falls by the wayside. This next digital presenter is all about the mindset that one needs to have in order to stand boldly and confidently in who you are. He supports children and adults alike as a self-confidence coach. But let me tell you a little bit more about Mr. Alex Carter. He is a native of Gary, Indiana. He was raised by both of his parents who had college degrees. He also had the influence of his peer group environment, which for a time was a lifestyle that he chose instead of his household upbringing. When he eventually learned that when you do the same thing that other people do, inevitably you get the same results that they get, he decided to turn his life around and choose a path that would lead him to a better future. Now, what he has learned, he wants to share. And just as it has made a difference in his life, he knows that it will make the same difference to anyone who applies these same principles. These principles he calls the Golden Rules, which is also the title of his book, which will be released in early 2018. So let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Alex Carter, our self-confidence coach, who is going to support us in making sure that we understand what these golden rules are so that we can live a principle and purpose-filled life to our greatest selves. So Alex, it's all on you.
What's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to the 2017 Ascension Summit, put together for you by Madam E.R. Spalding. Awesome lady that had the vision to put a team together with a common vision to inspire the world. We all have something special to bring to the table, and I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. As Madam E.R. Spalding said on the ticket, I am Alex Carter, the self-confidence coach. And not that I want to be proud, because that's not what I'm about, and I'll explain that a little bit later. But I am happy to be able to hold that title because it hasn't always been like that. And I want to share with you my story to show you where I come from to where I have become. Okay. I was born and raised in Gary, Indiana. And for those of you that are not familiar with Gary, Indiana, it's a pretty rough town. It was labeled murder capital of the world for a few years in a row, back in like the 80s and the late 80s. And that's about the time that I was coming up. Well, I was raised by both of my parents. And in Gary, Indiana, I actually kind of stayed in a better neighborhood. You know, I stayed in kind of a good neighborhood. people from different neighborhoods would say that I was spoiled. They would say that, they would call my mom and dad Mr. and Mrs. Yacht. Yeah, but I was raised right. And I really always liked the real cool kids. You know, that in crowd? That in crowd. I used to always want to be in that in crowd. But, my dress wasn't quite right. My grooming wasn't quite right. And I'm not trying to blame it on my parents because they didn't dress me, because surely they did not believe in getting me the Guess jeans or the $100 Jordans for a 12, 13, 14-year-old. But, my self-confidence in myself, it doesn't have all to do with dress and groom. But my self-confidence wasn't up there where I would have liked it to be. So, a funny thing happened when I was 15 years old. My birthday's in the summer. My birthday's in July. But the summer of my 15th birthday, I happened to see two movies that literally changed my life. I saw the movie The Untouchables one weekend. And a couple of weekends later, I saw the movie Goodfellas. Now, I don't know who's tuned in, if you're familiar with either of the two movies, or both of them, or neither of them. But when I saw these movies, I was like, wow. Because when I saw these movies, I saw power. See, The Untouchables is about Al Capone. And Al Capone, everybody knows, he was a heavyweight. He had power. We all know that. Well, Goodfellas, I believe it was a true story, true fictional, whatever. It was moving because these Italian gangsters had power. And I'm gonna share with you the part that really got me. My man, the star of the show, he was going to this fine establishment. And you got all of these rich people standing in line. I mean, a long line that was going all the way down a block and around a corner to get into this very fine establishment. Nothing but rich people going in there with their suits on, with their fur coats on. A very fine, very, very fine establishment. But the star of the show, I can't remember his name, but he was sucking and jiving with his wife and, walking, and they was laughing and talking, and they was walking what it looked like possibly to the back of the line. But no, he was walking past this long crowd that's going all the way down the block and around the corner. He's just walking back all the way down the block and around the corner into the back door, where he's greeted by a host that lets him right past this long crowd, and took him to the best seat in the house. And when he went into the establishment, everybody knew him. Wow. That's when I began to desire that type of power. I wanted to be the man. I wanted to have supernatural favor. So I began to position myself to receive that type of power. My thinking became different subconsciously. I didn't even know that this was going on. See, I was a good kid. Average self-esteem at best, average to a little on the low side. Like I said, I wanted to be in that in crowd. They were my friends, but I didn't quite fit in. But after I watched these two movies, something was going on in here. I'm like, hold on for a minute. I can do this. So I'm going to tell you what I did. I went into the mirror. I was at my parents' house. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was downstairs in the bathroom mirror, and I just looked into it. And I saw me. But I was looking to see who I wanted to be. And I just kept looking, and I just kept staring. And I kept thinking about who I wanted to be, and I was looking, and I was looking, and I was looking. And before you know it, I saw that dude. I saw that dude that I wanted to be. I didn't see me as who I used to be, but I saw that dude who I wanted to be. And I was like, there he is. So I walked away from the mirror. And then I came back. And he was still there. And from that point, I have never been the same. From that point, I'm not trying to sound like I'm all that, but I pretty much became a beast. But everything is gradual. Nothing happens in an instant. But I became that beast. See, my name was Alex, but my street name was Al C. It wasn't very long before everybody knew Al C. When I go places, people know Al C. And if any of my people are tuned in, they could testify to that. Because if they think about back in the days, I'm not going to say I wasn't that cool, but I may not have gotten noticed. Where when I became Al C, when I looked in the mirror and I saw that dude that I wanted to be, I went out and became that dude that I wanted to be. And I had a certain lifestyle that was very attractive to me at the time and to my peers at the time. But just because I was living a certain type of lifestyle that was very attractive to me and attractive to my peers, let me tell you something. That doesn't mean that it's all good. See, like I said, I was raised right. And I told you this thing was gradual. So as the years went on, it got better and better, or worse and worse, depending on how you're looking at it. But it got so bad where I actually ended up sending my mom to a mental institution because she didn't know where she went wrong. She was like, I don't know where I went wrong. I did everything I could. I said, Mom, I make these choices. So I ended up going in and out of jail. And I ended up acquiring a lot of money during this lifestyle. But I ended up blowing all my money. Get myself out of jail. Get my partners out of jail. And a whole bunch of stupid stuff. Driving while suspended. I had 13 driving while suspended. I didn't have a license for over 5 years. I'm telling you, this whole thing is gradual. It came to a point where I almost lost my life. I got stabbed 5 times in my vital organs. All vital organs. The doctors and the nurses, all of them in the hospital, assured me that you are lucky to be alive because whoever attacked you knew exactly what they were doing because they were trying to kill you because they hit all vital organs. So, if that wasn't a wake-up call, I don't know what was, but guess what? It wasn't. I'm still out there crazy. But it finally came to a time where I said, okay, enough is enough. I realized that this lifestyle is not working for me. And this is what I want to share with you people. Okay, when I realized that this lifestyle wasn't working for me, I needed help. And I really didn't know where to find help. So I just cried out to the Father. I cried out to the one who knows all of the answers. And I said, Lord, help me. I need some help. And the Father responded. And my life, again, has never been the same ever since. See, now I have acquired a relationship with God. And now I hold a whole different set of values. For instance, you see all of these books behind me. This is just one of my bookcases. I got another one over there on the other side of this wall. I never liked to read. I did not want to read anything. You couldn't pay me to read. But when I acquired this relationship with God, somebody told me that I had to read the Bible. I said, I don't like reading. I'm not going to read the Bible. I'll go to church every time the doors open, but I'm not going to read the Bible because I don't like to read. Well, I continue to get encouraged to read. So one day I went into the Wisdom Place, which is the church's bookstore, and I got me the smallest book that I could find. It was called When God Win by Joyce Meyer. At the time, I had no idea who Joyce Meyer was or anybody. But when I cried out to God, I know where to find him, and that was at church. And when I went to church, the pastor inspired me, and he changed my life like in an instant. And he told me to go in the bookstore and get a book. So I got the smallest book that I could find. And this small book, When God Win by Joyce Meyer, was so power-packed. I mean, I learned so much from this little bitty book. I was like, wow. Wow. So I did it again. I got me another book. It was by Creflo Dollar. It was a bigger book. And I got a lot of information from it. So then I started reading. You know, I had a job. I was working in the mill. And people was leaving magazines on the table, Newsweek. So I'm looking at Newsweek, and they're talking about this book called The Richest Man in Babylon, who has brought more people to financial freedom than any other book in the world. And I said, wow, that's pretty cool. I probably need to get that book. But I didn't get it. It was a thought, but I didn't get it. And then what happens? A couple of weeks later, Time Magazine laying on the table at the job. I opened up Time Magazine and I started reading it. The Richest Man in Babylon. Oh my gosh, what? Twice? I need to get this book. So now I'm thinking, financial freedom? Richest Man in Babylon is going to show me how to get financial freedom? Let me check this out. So I got The Richest Man in Babylon, and guess what? It was packed with information on how to become financially free. And then I heard about this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But usually I don't move on the first time. Not that it didn't sound attractive, because I'm like, wow, that sounds like something I should get. But I heard about it again. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You got to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because it does this. It'll open your eyes. It's like, man, let me get this book. Oh my God. Now this was like my third transformation in life. And my life will never be the same. I am who I am because of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because of God, and because of that one time when I looked in the mirror. See, everything builds. Like I said, everything is gradual. We all becoming better. Or worse, because if you're stagnant, you're worse. But anyway, The Richest Man in Babylon had recommended readings in the back of the book, and I started picking and choosing these books, and that's how I got my library. Matter of fact, this book right here over the top was one of the books in the recommended reading in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But I learned principles from God and the Bible. And then I began to realize that the same spiritual principles that I have learned through the Bible are the same principles that are taught in these books. They are success principles. So now, even though I am still becoming, I have a totally different lifestyle. See, when I was Al C in the streets and everybody knew me, I had a chip on my shoulder. And I was proud. You know, I didn't admit, you are not about to disrespect me and get away with it. If you disrespect me, we gonna have us a confrontation. And I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but I believe that if you didn't know who I was, you're gonna know who I was after that. Well, guess what? I thought that was a cool and the right way to handle things. But then I learned, love your enemies. What? Do good to those that mistreat you. What? That don't make any sense. No, it doesn't make any sense in the natural. But these are spiritual principles. And I tested them and I tried them. And again, I was like, wow, this stuff works. I mean, I was getting ready to say I could crush my enemies, but you heard the phrase, kill your enemies with kindness. I learned to kill my enemies with kindness. Because the truth of the matter is now I have no beef. So if you come to me with beef, I'm going to diffuse it because I have no beef with you, because I realize that whatever your problem is probably eternal or internal, because if I offended you, it was a mistake. And just because you get loud with me doesn't mean that I'm going to get back loud with you. No, it's not like that anymore. I realize that, and I'm not scared. I'm totally not scared, but I just want to solve this misunderstanding. See, that's how I operate now. I operate off of a whole new set of principles. Another principle: esteem others higher than yourself. Great principle. See, I love to encourage. I live for it. I love it. It just makes me feel good. And you know what? Check. Did you hear what I just said? I encourage. I make others feel good. And when I make them feel good, that makes me feel good. It's almost like the law of sowing and reaping. You reap what you sow. You sow good seed, you're going to reap a good harvest. All of these principles are in the Bible, and they're in these books. Now, one of my favorite principles, I don't know if it's in the book of Matthew or the book of John, but I know it's chapter 7, verse 1 says, "Judge not that you be not judged." And I pretty much got a foundation built on that. Because I want to tell you a story. I'm going to try to make it quick. I hope you all don't mind my stories. I'm going to make this real quick. I got in the church in 2000. In 2001, Jesse Jackson, the news came out that he had a child out of wedlock. I hate to bring that back up, but, you know, I had just got in the church and I'm all in. I'm all in. So I'm like, huh? How can he do that? And everybody around me, you know, they like, he human. And I'm like, but no, he's a pastor though. How can he do something like that? I don't understand. But now let me fast forward a little bit. See, I was new in this thing and I was going all out. I was sprinting. I was doing everything right, at least to my ability and to my knowledge, you know. And then I realized that he is human. We're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. Because I began to do things that I thought that I would never, ever, ever do again. And from that point, I realized that you cannot judge anyone because you don't know what a person has experienced. See, your experiences are different than my experience. What I experienced growing up, or even as an adult, you may not have ever had those experiences. So whatever it is that I may have dabbled in could be an issue for me and not an issue for you, where those things that you may have dabbled in may not be an issue for me. So how can I judge you on what you do when I do what I do? So now I feel like I'm judgeless. And that's an awesome place to be, because I don't look at the faults of others. Even Ralph Waldo Emerson, I believe it was Ralph Waldo Emerson, he said, every man is in some way my superior, and that way will I learn of him. See, I look at the good. I don't look at the bad. I mean, the bad might be obvious, but guess what? We all have issues. So how am I going to judge you on your issues and I have my own issues? Because no, I am not perfect, but God knows I am doing my best to be a person with great integrity. And it shows. I have a reputation out of this world. Everywhere I go, people know what I stand for. I can talk to anybody, and anybody wants to talk to me because they feel like they can trust me, because I'm not going to judge them. You see how powerful being non-judgmental is? It's a powerful thing, and to me, that's the only way to operate. As I said, I have my own experience, and it was humbling. Humility. Okay, here we go to the next principle, humility. I don't have to walk around with a chip on my shoulder anymore. No, I don't. All I have to do is stay humble, defuse the situation. Another principle that I really like is being considerate. When you be considerate of others, that's a beautiful thing. If you see someone that needs help and you help them, how much time does that take? It may even take a little bit of time. See, I'll just say, like I said, I'm from Gary, Indiana. In the wintertime, we get snow. If I see somebody stuck in the snow and I'm not on my way to work or something, I got a few minutes, I might be driving home from somewhere, I'm going to jump out of the car and I'm going to hurry up and, try to push them out of the snow, get them free so they could get going. I don't want them to be stuck, because guess what? I wouldn't want to be stuck. And if I was stuck and I couldn't get out by myself, I would love to have some help. No, I just don't want to be there, standing outside of my car and staring and trying to push and everything. See, that's being considerate of others. Being considerate is a beautiful thing. Do unto others as they will have them do unto you. And since I went there, I'm just going to share a few. That's the name of the book that I got coming out, and it'll be released in March of 2018, and it's called Golden Rules. And in this book, I discuss these principles that I learned from all of these wise men and from the Bible, and actually from other scriptures as well. But these principles are like unfailing. When you apply these principles, they work. They have put me in a great situation. They have put me before great people. And it's because I apply these principles. If I didn't apply these principles, I would not have been able to be in the presence of some of the great men and women who I have been in the presence of. I love these principles. I wish I could share them all with you, and I will over time, at least as many as I can. Because I also have a program, and it's called Health Esteem Fitness. And in my Health Esteem Fitness program, it's not just a physical fitness program, because we have mental health, we have emotional health, and we have physical health. So it's Health Esteem Fitness, where I cover all of these things, and it has to do with these principles. I have my book coming out, Golden Rules, where I will be sharing these principles. These principles are success principles. This is the way of life that you are guaranteed to be elevated. When you lift other people up, you become lifted up. When you do unto others as you will have them do unto you, you heard of the word karma. Some Christians don't like the word karma because it comes from the East. It's still sowing and reaping. You reap what you sow. Sow good seed, reap good benefits. And you don't even have to look for it. Don't look for it. It's coming. And don't wonder when it's coming, because if you're wondering when it's coming, it's going to seem like it's going to take a long time to come, or sometimes it comes right away. But when you live your lifestyle like that, it's just an ongoing cycle, because you're always doing good to others, and good is always, always, always coming back. I am a true testament of that. I am so glad for the changes in my life, and I am not upset about anything that I went through in my past, anything that I did in my past, because all of that is what made me who I am today. I am so glad that you all are tuned in to this 2017 Ascension Summit. I just want to leave you with, and it's real simple. It's real simple. It's very simple. The golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. There's 2 great commandments in the Bible, just 2. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Then it goes on, a guy asks, well, who is my neighbor? And then they went into the story of the Good Samaritan. And I'll go ahead and share that story real quick. I'm sure all of you all, or most of us, are familiar with it, but the Samaritans were the ones that the Jews didn't even really get along with. And this guy got beat up and he was destitute on the side of the road, and a priest walked past and a Levite walked past and prayed for him, but they didn't help him. Then a Samaritan got off his horse, picked him up, put him on his horse, took him to the inn, paid for the man. He didn't know this man at all. And actually, it was a type of people that really didn't care for his type of people. But he saw a person in need, and he took him to the inn, and he told the innkeeper, take care of this man. I'm going to give you this much money. Do whatever you need to do to take care of this man, because he needs some help. See, that's what I want to say we have to do for others. But I can't tell you what to do, but I'll tell you this. If you just try it, if you just try these principles, if you begin to lift people up, it's not about the tip. It's not about walking around like this. It's not about that. You know what? I realize now that I had it all messed up. That's not the way to go about doing things. Now, I just love to just greet people and happiness. Did you know if you greet somebody with a smile, you could put a smile on somebody else's face? You could actually put a smile on somebody's face that really, really needed a smile at that time. Something as small as a smile can just be so encouraging. It's all about doing unto others as you will have them do unto you. I am so happy, as I just said, that you all have tuned in. My name is Alex Carter. Health Esteem Fitness is my program. I'm the self-confidence coach. And really, self-confidence is just knowing who you are. And I know who I am. That's why I don't have to walk around with a chip on my shoulder. That's why I don't have to prove it, because I know it. Thank you for tuning in. My book, look for the book, Golden Rules by Alex Carter, coming out next spring. My website is under construction now, but the domain name is healthesteemfit.com. Hopefully I have it up and running in about 6 weeks. I think it's going to take about 6 weeks to get it all together, but I'm just so happy that you all have tuned in, and stay blessed.
Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with more exciting insights, strategies, and tools to elevate your life.